Resources is a gold and antimony producer with assets in Australia and Sweden. CEO Frazer Bourchier is here himself to walk us through their latest financial results for Q1, and they're here to talk to us about a recent transaction as well. Frazer, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's start with the first question. As we mentioned, Q1 results came out this month. Headline piece of info is that revenue is up about 41% year over year to $78 million. What drove the growth here?
Well, the obvious, I suppose, answer to that for some is metal price, which is certainly the case. I mean, metal price has gone up significantly year over year. You know, we emphasize we are executing to plan. So we are doing what we say we're going to do. We're producing both gold and antimony. We're prudently spending capital. We're not exceeding budget. So we're happy that we're meeting plan. We're delivering into this generous gold price and antimony price environment. And it's led to that significant increase of the 41% increase in revenue year on year.
Personally, I'm way more invested in learning about gold versus antimony. Can you quickly tell me and the audience what's driving the price behind the metal?
Well, antimony, we are the largest producer of antimony in the Western world. It is a critical mineral, deemed as one of the top 14 by the Critical Minerals Institute. In light of recent bans by China last September, and then elevated ban of the metal that they produce in December, that's driven the price up 4 to 5 times. And because most of the antimony is produced within China, Tajikistan and Russia, that makes us in the Western world the largest producer. So we've certainly benefited from that. We produce that as a co-product at one of our operations, the one in Australia, Costerfield, not the one in Sweden, which is gold only. So that's a significant benefit to us, yes.
Well, let's continuing on your financial results. Cash flow from operations are about 28 million. Cash in the bank is about 88 million. What's going to be the strategy on spending this money?
Yeah, so those numbers are great numbers again. Those are all US dollars. But you know, we decide as a board and executive that however we spend that, and exploration is one area that we spend. That's a core value for us in terms of replacing our resources and reserves and exploration expenditure. Part of it is our capital in terms of sustaining capital, in terms of infrastructure. But we're very careful about what we spend. And if there ever comes a time that we find that the best use of that is to put that into a dividend back to our shareholders, then we'll make that decision at that time. But if we think there's a real return on that investment, whether it's sustaining capital or growth capital, then we do that accordingly. And when I talk about exploration, that's an important growth element to our story.
Well, I also learned that your all-in sustaining costs increased to $2,004 per ounce due to front-loaded capital investments. Can you walk us through what these investors are and when investors may see payback?
Yeah, so that was a little bit, I would say, not normal course for us to have costs that high. But that's because, as you stated, we front-end loaded the capital the first 6 months of this year. We're building a new tailings dam facility at Costerfield. That'll get us another 7 years for that tail storage facility. We also are investing a fair bit more in our mobile equipment at both sites. And we've decided to ramp up and do a fair bit more development at our underground mine in Sweden. That just gives us access to a lot more stopes, a lot more flexibility. That, though, by the end of the year, will come back down to normal course, and we'll be back around that $1,500, $1,600 US dollars per ounce AISC cost, as opposed to tipping up to the 2,000, which we expected would happen for the first quarter and a half this year.
Okay. Moving on to the transaction, great news, pretty recent news. Can you walk us through the rationale behind the deal?
Sure. I mean, the transaction is a great quarter, but the transaction is the most exciting news. I mean, we've been working on M&A ideas for the last year and a half. This is one where the stars truly aligned. We have a merger of equals, all paper transaction, not using up cash, relatively the same value, same PNAVs, so that means accretive, non-dilutive. We will now, the pro forma company, we expect this deal to close in about August. Pro forma company will be index listed, both the JDXJ as well as the ASX 300. It'll be listed on both exchanges, the Australian Stock Exchange, the Toronto Stock Exchange. It will dual list. We expect a significant re-rate based on just fundamental high valuations you tend to see on the Australian Stock Exchange, coupled with the increased market buy for the index listing. So it gives us great access to capital markets. We'll be net cash positive. I mean, we'll be over 100 million US in cash combined if we decide to remove the debt that Alkane has, and generating, you know, north of 200 million free cash flow US a year at 180,000 ounces a year in about a year and a half's time. So it's a great story. It's just unlocked a lot of potential for both companies, increased trade and liquidity, pristine balance sheet, access, I say, to capital markets, and then it's how we invest that further to ensure further growth on the condition of return to the shareholders.
And in terms of where the assets are in relation to one another, can you walk us through that as well?
Sure. I mean, so we have 3 assets now in Australia, 2 of them producing, and 1 of them a project, and 1 in Sweden. So ours, of course, ours being Mandalay, we always had the one in Sweden called Björkdal, and the one in the state of Victoria called Costerfield. With Alkane, we now have another producing mine in the state of New South Wales, adjacent to Victoria in the eastern part of Australia, as well as a large copper gold porphyry deposit, Boda-Kaiser, also in New South Wales. So we kind of have that, let's call it southeastern part of Australia, where there's a larger center of gravity now, as well as the great asset next to Boliden's assets, about a 1-hour flight north of Stockholm in Skellefteå in Sweden. So those 4 assets are a great growth platform for us going forward.
My last question is this. The market's been celebrating Mandalay for the past year or so. What do you want investors to know moving into the rest of the year in terms of message to existing and potential new shareholders?
Well, I think the important story is this is an important milestone for us, but it's not a one and done. We are keen to continue to grow. I will stay fully involved with the company, moving on to the board of directors. The managing director, what we would call president and CEO here, the managing director of Alkane will take the executive lead. It will be a Mandalay majority board, coupled with Alkane's board and a new independent director. And we're really going to be talking next, once we get together and the deal closes, about what the next steps are, both in terms of exploration and capital investment in the company, and the next M&A deal. So I would say this is just the beginning of the story, irrespective of gold price. We're pretty excited, but it was a first important milestone for us to accomplish from when I joined the company 2 years ago. We're glad that we've been able to, or soon to execute on this deal.
Great. Well, Frazer, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate that.
So Mandalay can be found under MND, under the TSX. We'll list all the tickers below, though, for you guys to check them out. Of course, you can also go to CEO.CA, search MND, and see what other investors are saying. Thanks for watching.